What's going on, guys? This will be a quicker video. We're looking at a pretty red day. We're getting some divergences from the miners. I'm going to show you what Bitcoin's doing, what I expect, and we also have news that Mt.Gox creditors are receiving their funds. Now, if you guys don't mind hitting the like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, it definitely doesn't go without appreciation. You guys are the reason I'm still doing this. If it wasn't for those of you that do that, I would not be here. Now, we have news that over 36% of Mt.Gox Bitcoin has been distributed to creditors, but whales keep accumulating. Whales are smart. They buy while there's fear. They scale in while there's fear. They start selling when there's euphoria. Kind of the opposite of most of us retail. And despite this potential sell pressure from Mt.Gox creditors, Bitcoin whales are accumulating. And we had news that Kraken confirmed the receipt of $9 billion worth of Bitcoin, and it's going to be distributed within 7 to 15 days. This is almost out of our way. This is almost over. It's almost a non-issue. It's no longer going to be looming over Bitcoin anymore. So, you know, what do I expect? I do expect a little bit of short-term fear, a little bit of short-term worry, but I mean, what's another 7 to 15 days really? If anything, just like what we just saw, just like what we just got out of, you take advantage of the fear. We're not going to get $50-something thousand Bitcoin for very long if we do even get it. Now, I wanted to show you guys this article. I find it kind of funny. They're painting miners in like a horrible light, and the title says, "Floundering crypto miners look for AI company lifelines." I don't know how they're floundering when many have little to no debt, many have good Bitcoin balances, many do have a lot of cash on hand, and many have recently diluted. But it's basically saying that they're getting into AI. You guys can read it if you want. I'm not really going to read it. I just wanted to point out that it's kind of funny. They're paying the miners in a similar light to when we were back at the 15K days. Bitcoin is over 4 times that price. Bitcoin's rise has more than made up for the fact that the Bitcoin halving has took effect. It's almost the equivalent of Bitcoin being at like 30-something thousand now. We are double that. Bitcoin miners are in a much better position than back when Bitcoin was 15K pre-halving. There's no dancing around that. Check out during that time how much debt many of them had. And plus the fact that many of these Bitcoin miners' price has risen, we'll likely get some ATM news, and this will continue to cement their future growth. But for this article to say this, that they're floundering, I find that ridiculous. Many were actually recently posting profitability, which is something we didn't see until the very, very tail end of the last cycle. So for over 2 years, these guys were unprofitable. They posted profitability, and now we have an upcoming quarter that's expected to be unprofitable because of the halving. And this article says they're floundering. I just find that very disingenuous. And to me, you know, many of the miners are in fantastic positions with very little to no debt, with decent cash balances, and with really good amount of Bitcoin holdings. But to think that the miners are struggling more than when Bitcoin was 15K pre-halving, I don't know what to tell you. That's kind of insane. Think about it. Bitcoin is over 4 times that price. And if miners could get through 2022 where Bitcoin went down into the 15s, was hovering around 20,000 for what seemed like forever. If they can get through that, they can get through a Bitcoin at 60K right under their break even. And I have a feeling that within weeks, within months, they will be profitable. Bitcoin up in the 70,000s means many Bitcoin miners are going to be profitable, and we're right there. I mean, we're right around the corner, and it's still pretty early in the cycle. We're only a few months after the halving. So to me, you know, now is not the time to get feared out of the crypto miners. Now is not the time to get feared out of Bitcoin. We are approaching one of the most exciting times. But are we going to see the gains like we saw when we got out of 2022 when CleanSpark was like $1.50, for instance, and it's done about 10x since? No, I don't think CleanSpark is going to do a 10x. So to me, the biggest returns are behind us, but that's not to say you don't want to stick around for the rest of this cycle. I do think a lot of these crypto miners from here will still do a 2, 3, maybe even 4, 5x. Now, getting away from the bullishness for just a second, I do want to show you some bearish points. For CleanSpark, we do have some bearish RSI divergences that we were pointing out yesterday. These are on the 1 hour. We were seeing higher prices on the chart, but we were seeing the RSI topping out and coming down. Momentum was waning. And then this next divergence here, lower highs on the RSI, and pretty much the same high when you look at the body. Now, we did break our previous resistance. Didn't really play out as a support. The market did react to the break of this level, this 1880 area. And you'll see that we had a general trend we were following. Once we broke that, the market did react to this as well. I mean, maybe you could adjust it a little bit, but the market did react to this, the break of this general uptrend. And we do have a gap here from 16 that I mentioned yesterday. We have a gap in the 16s. I do think it can get filled. I think this will be a great chance to buy CleanSpark, and I think it would be a good idea to buy slightly over that, just in case everyone has a similar idea and tries to scoop it up right before the fill of the gap. It might only partially fill, so we could have some good opportunities Probably the last time this cycle to buy and see multiples. I want to zoom out just a tiny bit and show you guys that just the other day we're at like $15. So don't let this like freak you out. What I do expect is, I've showed you this before, but I expect CleanSpark to follow its general broadening pattern, which it has respected for this entire bull run. Remember, the miners are volatile. Definitely take advantage of selling cash secured puts when we're pulling back. Take advantage of selling covered calls when we're running up if you have shares. And also when we run, consider taking some profits along the way. Don't get married to your trade. Things are going to get very exciting. You're going to see your account going green, going up and up and up, and you're going to want to keep holding it. You're going to want to keep experiencing that fun. But remember, when things are looking good, you want to take some profits along the way. You do not want to just hold on to everything. You don't want to hold on to the miners. They're going to be very volatile. You don't want to hold on very tightly to the altcoins. When they start ripping like crazy, you want to trim some off the top. You want to lock in your gains. You want to play with house money. Patience is key, but too much patience can be detrimental. We're seeing something similar with both CleanSpark and Bitcoin. RSI divergence on Bitcoin as well. Lower highs on the RSI, higher highs on the chart. And what I do expect from Bitcoin is I do expect we're going to start following this general ascending channel, which is great. You know, following a general uptrend is fantastic. What I also anticipate is for us to pull back and follow this channel. So that does mean we will likely fall down. Could even be 60K that we see, and that would be wonderful for a chance to add. I do think the market just got through a little bit of overkill in terms of fear. To think that $9 billion worth of potential selling from Mt.Gox, I mean, think about it. We were at a $1.5 trillion market cap or so. We went all the way down to about 1 trillion. We lost 500 billion worth of the market cap, about $9 billion worth of selling. The market clearly overreacted. What do I think we can see, and what you should look out for as well, is if we do pull back, start finding support at these EMAs, start curling, this would be a fantastic cup and handle, and this could break us out of this channel, bring us up towards the 70s. We have divergences everywhere. They're definitely something you want to look out for. It gives kind of an indication of a shift in the trend. One thing we were seeing during all this fear, we were seeing a bullish divergence. The price was dropping, however the RSI was starting to rise. We were starting to gain momentum here. And what happened? The price spiked. But now we are getting an indication to the downside, basically the opposite of what we saw the other day. So maybe it's our time to pull back a little bit. Maybe the market ignores the divergence. They don't always play out. What I do expect, like I said, is for us to follow this general uptrend. A drop all the way to 60K would not invalidate it. So keep an eye on this general uptrend. I do think we're going to follow it. And I mean, look at this. We just broke our downtrend we were stuck in. This was resistance for quite a while. We finally broke out of it. The market reacted. I do think we're starting a new trend. And it might not be this. This is just my kind of what I'm seeing. You know, it might turn out something totally different. But thanks as always for watching, guys. Do you think we're going to see some more fear now that Mt.Gox trustees, creditors are getting their funds? Or do you think this was pretty much priced in, considering we dropped almost $500 billion in market cap? And as I've said before, as we get through the cycle, it's less and less tempting to buy and more tempting to sell. So just keep that in mind, that we are starting to get, you know, towards the back half of the cycle, probably in the middle point now, maybe in the back half, and things aren't just going to keep trending up forever. You definitely want to take profits on some things, especially things you're overextended on. If you have a very large weighting in something, you might want to trim that first a little bit, but you know, manage your portfolio. Be careful because things are going to rip, things are going to dip too. I do anticipate the 4-year cycle bull and bear markets, which means sometime in 2026 we will see a nice drop. You want to make sure you have some cash on the side. You want to make sure you secure some profits and start building that cash balance again in anticipation of some potentially great prices down the road. Thanks as always for watching, guys. Let me know, are you becoming a seller here? Are you still a buyer here? To me, the time to buy was back in 2022 during all the fear, part of 2023. 2024, 2025, it gets exponentially more risky. There's still some money to be made off of swing trades, of course, but if you're holding these positions, looking at the entire cycle, the higher we go, the higher risk you take. So I do think we see much higher prices from here, but it is getting riskier and riskier being a buyer as we continue through the cycle.